What I'm going to do is I'm going to try the regular inflator first. So I'm going to put the core back in, and the other way would be kind of a last resort solution. Just make sure your core is tight, and when you're turning the core, make sure that the valve is not spinning. If the valve's spinning, tighten up that lock ring, finger tight, maybe get pliers and give it another half or quarter turn. And then make sure the core is tight. If the core is loose, if you're out in the field and you have to screw your CO2 pump or something on there, when you unscrew that pump out in the field, you're going to take the core out on accident. So we want that core nice and tight. And we'll see what we get. And I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come over here in the 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever position. Wipe this excess off. And beware, some might want to spit out along these edges, so cover your face. Yeah, so that was what, 2 or 3 seconds. Definitely didn't fill up. Sometimes you can put a little pressure, try and get that rim bead to, or the bead lock to sit down on the rim. I'll try one more time. Yeah, so we're getting a little spray back. Tons of leakage, so we're going to go back to the other way. This is going to allow more pressure to go in all at once. So I'm going to remove the core, basically clearing the airway. And going back to this guy. Again, I'm going to still come up over on the side, let the fluid sit at the bottom. Here it goes. Let it pop once or twice. Because usually we want to take this up, it depends what the manufacturer says. I know Stan used to say take this up to 40. You got to look at your tires though. Your tires may say don't go up to 40, go up to 35 or something, so pay attention to both. Right now we're holding, got my finger over the valve. As soon as I let it go, we're going to have air leak out. So that bead's seated. You can let all the air out and then go back, put your core. Your seal should stay sealed up, or you can just do a quickie and drop your seal in real quick. But just to show you that the bead's going to be okay, I'm going to let all the air out. And what gives me confidence is I know this bead was tight because I had to use that wood block to break the bead free. So this bead is not going to be disturbed, and that depends on the tire and wheel combo. You might have ones that the bead doesn't stay very good, it always wants to come off, and difficult to seal. So I'm going to go ahead, without disturbing this tire too much, or the seal, put the core back in. Switch my pumps out, and we should be good to go. So this one, you can look at your tire, see what the max air pressure is. Let's get some air in here. And it's taking air. If you have issue air coming in or out, there's some more popping. So, and that's at 19 psi. Now let's take it up to at least 30, and I'll check what the tire pressure is. Should be on this guy. Yeah, that's at 30 psi. I'm not hearing any noises, I'm not seeing any leakage, but if you do get the wheel off, rotate that liquid, shake it around, bounce it, get that liquid to jump up, hit the sidewalls, hit the top portion here. If we have leakage here at the nipples, we got to get that liquid to jump up and clog those areas. Get on the bike, go for a spin. Go hit some bumps, go hit some jumps. Very carefully though, where all you're trying to do is break in the system, get that fluid to move everywhere. So going over some bumps is going to get that liquid to kind of jump up and vibrate and go into those little openings. So that's 30 psi. This tire I'm sure goes up a little more. What do we got here? 35 to 50 psi, but doesn't mean I want to take it all the way to 50. So not a big deal if, not a big deal, say you let this sit, you take off for an hour, you come back in the garage, tire's low or flat, or next morning, same thing, tires lower flat, not a big deal. Usually it usually likes to be ridden around, so put the air back into it, give it another roller shake, go for a spin around the block, get that sealant moving around. Usually that will do the trick. If you have problem issues where we have a slow leak, it just continues to leak and we don't see it where it's coming from, you just really got to do a really close inspection. Again, dip it in a tub if you have something big enough, get some soapy water, a couple pumps of dishwash soap in a spray bottle, spray it down really good. Take your time, look for those small air leaks. You might have to fill the tire up to the max. Again, pay attention to the rim or the tire recommendations for air pressure. The more pressure you put in it, the easier it is to find that real small pinhole leak. We're going to need high pressure to get that. So say we pump this up to 40 psi, we see the small pinhole leaks, and then once it drops down to 30 psi, that pressure has dropped, so therefore the pinhole leak has now just almost disappeared. Still leaking, but at a slower rate, and definitely not visible because we lost pressure. So that's why we end up with a tire that might be sitting with 10 or 15 psi for weeks. It drops down from 40 to 10 or 15, just doesn't have enough pressure to leak out, but still enough to stay in there. So I'm gonna give this a spin. We can give it some shakes, flip it over, shake it, rotate it all the way around, throw it on the bike, go for a spin. I'm gonna let this sit for several hours. I'll probably be back 3 or 4 hours and see what we have. If I have any leakage at the base of the nipple or even coming out of the nipple where the spoke is still, then maybe we definitely have a problem with the rim tape. But like I said, the rim tape was looking pretty good. We expect the sealant to go back and fill those little microscopic voids. That's basically its job, because when you get a flat, you get a thorn, piece of glass, something like that, that's what that fluid's supposed to do, up to a certain size.